welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet me at Rhina Valentin, and of course, tweet BronxNet at BronxNet TV. Many of you, like myself, may have a preteen, or what is the term they're calling it now, tweens. And, having the conversation of hygiene can be tricky for some parents. And so, our next guest, she decided to create a Funky Charlie children's book teaching the importance of self care and hygiene. And joining us to tell us more about her book, please welcome Tysheena Ross.
Hi.
Hello and
Hi.
welcome.
How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. This is awesome. Awesome. And I'm saying it, of course, speaking as a mom, right? Because, first of all, I love the title, Funky Charlie.
Thank you.
You know, it's kind of like, hey, what kind of funky we're talking about?
It actually came from a conversation with my girlfriends, and she was telling me something, and I'm like, ooh, Funky Charlie. And the way my brain works, I just thought of a character and made it into a children's book.
And I think it's brilliant, right? Because they get to a certain age. Well, at least for what I've experienced, right? There's a certain age group, and and then their body starts to change.
Yes.
And as you're developing their consciousness and using certain products and or being mindful, you can walk into a certain grade class, and it's like really a funky environment.
And it's actually getting younger. You know, before it would start around maybe 11, 10, but now you can smell a kid's feet at 3, and you're like, okay, it's time to put you in the tub. Yes.
So talk to me about the book and what inspired it for you.
It's just, well, actually, my daughter, she's actually the opposite, so maybe I should have made a book called OCD, because she's always clean and very. But, you know, I have a lot of little boys in my family that don't like to take baths and don't like to take showers. And as mothers, kids in general just don't want to wash up. So I thought Funky Charlie was actually a good book because it's a rare topic most people don't like to get into. So I said, why not write a children's book and make it fun and exciting for kids, you know, to understand the importance of self-care.
And so, may I see this book? Because I
Sure.
know you're holding it, and you've got a couple of books in your
Yes,
hand.
I do.
And so, Funky Charlie is the first book you've written.
Yes, it is.
And so, the idea behind this book is that you are addressing underarms, feet,
Everything, just self-care in general, how important it is to, you know, take care of your body, your hygiene. And the way you start as a young age is the way you're going to take it into adulthood.
It's true, right? And then that's the age also that you kind of start developing your personality, and certain things start affecting you.
Yes.
And so this conversation also can be a conversation of resistance. Because I happen to have an individual, my little one, she really is like, I don't really want to deal with like responsible adult stuff right now, but the conversation needs to be had.
Yes, and it's a conversation most people don't like to have. So I wanted to tap into that raw topic just to get it out there. Like, it's important for you guys to smell good and to take care of yourself.
And it's good that you wrote it for them so that they can address it themselves versus having their parents talk to them about it. And it could be, I mean, obviously it's going to be a conversation piece, but just the idea of like reading it in a story allows them to experience it.
Yes, and I made it extremely fun, and it's so funny. I made it for kids, but most adults, you know, they say it at my job. They're like, Funky Charlie. Like, you know, they just express it. So it's become very a catchy phrase.
All right, and so I see you have these other books in your hands. Just out of curiosity, what else you got here?
I actually wrote 2 more books after Funky Charlie, so it hasn't been a year since I actually produced Funky Charlie, but I decided to write Grandpa's Art.
Grandpa's Art.
It actually tells you about Black art. It was dedicated to my great-grandfather, who was a famous artist and sculptor, and I thought it was good for kids to know about art, you know, at a young age as well.
That's lovely. And then If All Goes Well?
If All Goes Well is actually everyday life scenarios, but I just translate it into poetry forms. You know, we hear about so much stuff. People can relate in all ages. And I thought, why not make it in poetry form to make it fun?
And, you know, I read somewhere that writing is your therapy.
Yes.
And so now you're passing it on to the next generation, because I noticed you've chosen to write children's books.
Yes.
Why?
I feel like the younger generation now is getting real lost. So I wanted to tap into different topics that, brings them back. Like, it's okay to be a kid. You don't have to grow up too quick. It's okay to talk about hygiene. It's okay to be different and talk about Black art. Just to have them surrounded by different type of energy, different type of beliefs and stuff. You don't have to be, it's okay if you are a nerd per se or anything. It's just okay to be yourself. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to write children's book.
And then there's to getting them to read it.
Yes, I didn't make it too long.
Definitely,
No.
definitely a considerate mama.
Yes, yes.
Well, thank you for bringing it here. And Tysheena Ross, everybody. Oh, I want to make sure I don't drop it. And of course, you guys can get Funky Charlie. That can be purchased at charliecreator.com, and it's available at Barnes & Noble and, of course, on Amazon. She even has a Kindle version of it. I mean, it's all over the place, so make sure you check it out. I think it's a wonderful way to discuss children's hygiene with your children. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll sit down with a spiritual artist. Don't go anywhere.